Hello nerds! Thank you once again for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom Video Games edition for the week of February 12th, 2018. This week, Sega Genesis is in the news for some reason. Overwatch, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. We've got all these things going on in video games, and first things first though.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Before we jump into the news, I want to just let you guys know this week's episode is brought to you by patreon.com/generallynerdy. That's where you lovely nerds can go contribute to this conversation. You can jump on for $1 a month. You can jump on for a little bit more if you want to get a little bit more out of the deal. But if you jump on for that $1 a month, you get early access. You get to see all the good content that I am posting before the rest of the world, and that's worth $1, right? Anyway, patreon.com/generallynerdy is where you can do that. And now let's jump into the news. So Sega Genesis Sega Genesis is in the news because there's a new game. It's been 20 years since that was the console that Sega put out, and now there's a new game. So it's a bit of a story. It appears that one of the developers from Big Evil Studios, a game developer in the United Kingdom. His name is Matt Phillips. He started a Kickstarter to do a retro game in the fashion of the system. That was a Sega Genesis game called Tanglewood. It's about a fox. It didn't really look much into the gameplay. It looks really well done. It was really interesting there's an interview that I read with him where he's talking about the limitations because he had to do it basically on on a computer that was running Windows 95. So yeah, all of his stuff, he said he spent more time on fixing his computer than actually coding the game, so that's very interesting. But he said he was just bored with modern game development and wanted to do something that would challenge him, I guess. I don't know what Big Evil Studios does, so I can't speak to why he would be so bored, but maybe you guys know. This was just a really interesting thing. Who's making, I mean, there's homebrew stuff. There's definitely homebrew games that people are still doing for the original Nintendo, for the Genesis, all kinds of like stuff that's not from a big proper programmer in a studio. Apparently all kinds of stuff that's super hard if you watch the Video Game Nerds, James and Mike over at Cinemassacre. But yeah, just really interesting. An actual production studio did a game for a system that's more than 20 years old. Anyway, we're moving on. We're talking about Overwatch League, and the first stage has come to an end. And so we're going to go over the rankings of the 12 teams in the league. Rank number 1 is New York Excelsior. Number 2 is Houston Outlaws. Number 3 is London Spitfire. 4 is Los Angeles Valiant. 5 is Seoul Dynasty. 6 is Boston Uprising. 7 is Philadelphia Fusion. 8th is the Los Angeles Gladiators. 9th is the San Francisco Shock. 10th is Dallas Fuel. 11th is Florida Mayhem, and 12th is Shanghai Dragons. Those poor guys didn't win a single match. So that's where we are sitting as far as stage 2. There are still 3 more stages before we get to finals. That was stage 1 rather. Stage 2 starts on the 21st of this month, so keep your eyes peeled. The way it works is at the end of stage 4, the top 6 teams will go to the finals, and then the bottom 6 teams will just have to wait for next season. And so those top 6 teams go into the finals, and then we have a whole finals bracket that we are definitely going to cover when we get to that point. So in other Overwatch news, though, there is the new Lunar New Year Capture the Flag map. If you don't have it already, it is available to download. It comes with a bunch of new skins. They are, I should have wrote it down. The theme for them is Thailand, I believe. I'll fix that right here with text, because I'm sure that's wrong. But one thing that I wanted to talk about, update to the game. I mean, there's the silly update that now you can change your character's skin in the lobby. You don't have to do it like outside of gameplay. You can do it right before the actual game starts. So that's interesting. I guess fans have been asking for that. That seems like a really minor cosmetic change that doesn't affect gameplay, but whatever. But so the cool thing, the other cool thing with this update, with the Capture the Flag, the Lunar New Year stuff, is that at least for Capture the Flag, there is no more ties. That they added a new game mechanic so that if the score by the end of the time limit is tied, then it kicks into sudden death. So we now have sudden death matches on Overwatch, which is going to change Stage 2 for the Overwatch League. Well, I guess they don't really do Capture the Flag, but still, really awesome. I'm super excited about it. That's going to change at least some streamers that I watch, so that's really cool. Our last bit is kind of a big thing. Kingdom Hearts 3, they released a trailer, so we see just how much of a Disney love fest this game is going to be. Still, some of the stuff from the leak that we talked about a couple weeks ago has yet to be confirmed. We do know that there is going to be Monsters, Inc. in this game. And apparently you get to use Mike Wazowski as a weapon, so that's awesome. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, new trailer, link in the description, but no release date yet. All they're saying is 2018. Sometime this year we will get this game. I'm still putting money that it's going to be probably Christmas release, just because that way they can drive that hype machine. It'll probably be done by the end of the summer, but they're not going to release it until Christmas, so they can guarantee $1 billion in sales. So yeah, that is where I'm going to end this week's video games episode. What, guys, did I miss? I know I miss a lot in video games. I just need some feedback from you guys so that I can get a little bit more direction with the video games, because I'm out of touch with my gaming. I'm still Fallout 4 and Injustice 2 all day long, man. Oh, I almost forgot. Speaking of Injustice 2, we finally got, and I put it in the text for last week's video because it was literally as I was editing that video, as I was finishing the edit on that video, they posted that Watchtower, so I finally got to watch the Watchtower, where they're talking about how the Ninja Turtles play, and oh my lord, I was right! I don't know how to feel about this. I'm usually so terribly wrong when I make guesses, but I was really close to right. The only thing that I was really not accurate about was that they all have different character powers. So the 4 of them have different, like very different character powers. Because even the character powers because the example I used last week for why I came to my conclusion was Raiden and Black Lightning, and their character power is the same. It looks different, the animation is different, but basically it's the same. So I assumed that the Turtles were going to be the same, because they're basically just skins of one another. But it's a lot more than just skins. They have individual character powers, even their what's the word I'm looking for? The big move, the freaking, you push the 2 trigger buttons. Their X-ray, I know that's the Mortal Kombat version, but I'm drawing a blank on the words, and again, you're probably seeing it right here. So even their X-ray move, the animation starts differently depending on which turtle you have. So the part that I was right about, if you haven't watched the Watchtower, if you don't know what I'm talking about, last week we were talking about Ninja Turtles, and I was assuming that the turtle that you were was going to be defined by the shader that you had on your character. So I was thinking it was going to be a generic turtle who had a shader, and then that shader, the color scheme of your character, was going to determine which weapon you had and which voice played when there was interactions. The intro, or anytime there's a clash, or any of that stuff was all going to be determined by the shader. I was close. It's not the shader, it's the weapon. So immediately once you download the Turtles, at level 1, you are going to have 4 different items And I'm hoping, though they didn't say this explicitly, they're going to slightly tweak the game mechanic for them too, because when you have a level 1 character, you can only have 3 loadouts. So hopefully when you download the turtles, they'll open up that 4th slot just because there's 4 turtles. But confirmed 100% is you're going to have the weapons, so you will be able to assign the weapon to a loadout. And if you're strictly a Wrath player, then you can have 4 different Wrath loadouts. Or if you're strictly a Mikey player, you can have 4 different Mikey loadouts. You just have to assign that weapon to that loadout, and then with that comes all of the things that are Mikey. His character power, his colors, all of that stuff. So that is awesome. The thing that we still don't know is how they're going to deal with the shaders, which I thought was going to be the determining factor, when really it's the weapons. So yeah, very, very interesting. I didn't mean to push this towards the end because I just forgot to write it down. I knew I wanted to talk about it, but it escaped my mind when I was printing out my notes. So, that being said, now we're done. If you want to go deeper into this conversation, guys, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. You can find all of the social media links. Follow me on Instagram, man. I take some really cool pictures, and I'm going to be posting up a lot more. I just did another real short notice adventure. That the video for that will be up soon. I still have to put the unboxing video up, so that's going to happen. All kinds of stuff, and you'll see this all on the website. Generallynerdy.net is that website. If you are new to the channel, click that subscribe button. If you like this episode, click the like button. If you're running behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up and you're watching me on YouTube, click or tap right there to the left of my face to do that. But before you go, you need to always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.